Hello there, I'm Lloyd Evans and you're watching the John Cedars channel, not from the bunker as you can plainly see, but from Zagreb Airport. I am shooting this video as I'm about to get on a flight, one of two flights to London, and the reason why I'm going to London is because for the first time in my life, potentially I guess the only time in my life, who knows, I am being invited to Parliament. So it's quite a long story really. Because of my work with ICSA, which is effectively the Australian Royal Commission but for England and Wales, I was asked for my input on a proposed change to the law in Britain. So I am involved with ICSA as a core participant for the investigations on Jehovah's Witnesses, and a particular group called an All-Party Parliamentary Group, which deals exclusively with faith settings, found my name and approached me for my input on a proposed change to the law. So at the moment, I'm trying to think of the best way to explain this. At the moment, in the UK, the age of consent is 16. Obviously, in America, I know many of you watching from America, the age of consent is 18, but in the UK, it's 16. However, you can still go to jail for getting into a sexual relationship with a 16 or 17-year-old if you are their teacher or their care worker, because those positions are defined as positions of trust. In other words, if you get into a sexual relationship with a 16 or 17-year-old because you're their teacher or because you're their care worker, it means you're exploiting a power imbalance. You are taking advantage of this young person and therefore you need to be criminally prosecuted. So the change in law that I have been asked to comment on deals with how we define positions of trust. Should it not be that positions of trust also include ministers of religion? So priests, elders, ministerial servants, do they have a position of trust, or you could say a position of power, that they could use to exploit a 16 or 17-year-old? And that's what I was asked to give evidence for. I spent maybe a day or 2 days writing my own statement to the effect of, yes, there is a power imbalance, there is an opportunity here for elders or ministerial servants in the Jehovah's Witness religion to take advantage of this, albeit narrow demographic of 16 and 17-year-olds. So I submitted my evidence. I wasn't there for the actual hearing, but a report has been published and I have been invited to Parliament for the unveiling of this report. Now the report, I have actually read it, but it's under embargo so that I don't risk any legal problems because I am in a public place. It's not impossible that I could be overheard. I'm going to do in voiceover the first 2 paragraphs of the report. Under current legislation, the Sexual Offences Act 2003, S16 through S24, it is illegal for individuals within the defined roles set out in Section 21, including teachers, care workers and youth justice staff, to engage in sexual activity with a 16 or 17-year-old under their supervision. However, other adults who hold similar positions of power, trust and influence within settings such as faith and religious organisations and sports teams are not covered by the current provisions. There should be no difference in the protections afforded to young people in a school environment and those granted in other settings where they spend time alone with adults. Adults who, in a position of trust,
often hold considerable power and influence over them. Young people attending youth groups at their church, participating in a gymnastics team, or having driving lessons experience this disparity and are more vulnerable because of it.
So obviously I'm hugely proud to be involved in some way in this report. Who knows whether it ends up becoming actual law or not, but if it does become law, then I can say I've had some part in it, I guess. But in any case, here begins a short video in which I document my travels to Parliament. So yeah, buckle up guys and join me for the ride. Probably one of the smallest planes I've ever flown on. Off to Belgrade for the first leg of my trip.
The jacket will be automatically inflated before the return of applying it to the mouthpiece.
Well, this is my shortest ever trip to a new country. I've never been to Serbia before, and having just landed from Zagreb, almost immediately I've been directed onto my connecting flight to London. So, hello Serbia, goodbye Serbia. It was nice seeing you for all of a few minutes. So here I am in London, England no less. Feels strange to be back. Obviously I try to get back to the UK as much as I can whenever I have a reason or an opportunity. This definitely counts. But yeah, here I am on British soil, about to head deeper into the city towards Westminster. Well, I'm here just outside the Houses of Parliament, and guess who else is here? It's kind of ironic. It is kind of ironic that I'm literally about to step inside this building, Portcullis House. There's Big Ben, shrouded in scaffolding, and there are the Houses of Parliament. And yeah, it's kind of ironic really that I am about to step inside this place in a short while. Might have a coffee first, and well, I'll be there because I have given some quite damning evidence against Jehovah's Witnesses, as I'm going to show you. So yeah, interesting that they're here. I don't have all my equipment with me, and I'm not really sure I'm in the frame of mind to be engaging in any street epistemology today anyway, apart from the fact that it's quite cold. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Portcullis House. I will have to, I'm assuming, turn my camera off when I'm inside, but I will certainly let you know what happens when I finish.
After getting that sorely needed coffee, I joined the line outside Portcullis House, where it became clear that cameras were indeed forbidden on the premises. Therefore, apart from this rather clumsy footage of me trying to take a photo using my phone's video function, I don't really have any footage to share from inside the impressive structure. Suffice to say, it was an incredible experience to visit a place strewn with reminders of its important role in shaping my country's law and history. The meeting itself was fascinating, and I was surprised to have the opportunity to say a few words on the need for mandatory reporting when questions or comments were invited from attendees. The next day, as I waited to board my return flight to Zagreb, I reflected on a remarkable few hours in London.
So viewers, you join me the day after, and here I am in the departure lounge at Heathrow, getting ready to catch my flight back to Zagreb after a whistle stop 24 hours in London. Yesterday was just incredible. In fact, I should really show you, I hadn't really thought about preparing for this properly, but let me just get out of my rucksack the report that was released yesterday by the All-Party Parliamentary Group on safeguarding in faith settings. This is what I was showing you earlier. Now I have my own copy. In fact, I have two copies because I got one for Mark O'Donnell. But I have two copies of this report, which, if you actually look inside, I'm immensely proud that, I don't know whether you can see there, but JW Survey is one of the groups that contributed to giving evidence to the APPG about the need for a change in the law. It's not perhaps something that you automatically think of as an ex-JW. How are 16 or 17-year-olds protected from being groomed by specifically elders and ministerial servants? Nevertheless, given an opportunity to engage with the political process on this, I'm satisfied, or I'm very happy in fact, that if we stop at least one 16 or 17-year-old Jehovah's Witness in the UK from being groomed by an elder or ministerial servant, or if this legislation will deter that from ever happening to begin with. I call it legislation. It's not law yet. This is just a report recommending a change in the law. If there ever is a change in the law so that this is allowed for, or that this is considered, then it could act as a deterrent so that abuse never ends up happening, or 16 or 17-year-olds never end up being preyed on to begin with. So look, I'm absolutely thrilled. I was in two minds as to whether it would be worthwhile jumping on a plane to come all this way just for one meeting, albeit a meeting in Parliament, but I just had a hunch that it would be worthwhile because I would most likely meet some very interesting people, and I did meet some very interesting people. I briefly got to meet Sarah Champion, who is the Labour MP for Rotherham, and she's done so much work on child safeguarding. So it was just a fantastic opportunity to meet people who are not just talking about child safeguarding and child protection, but actually doing something and trying to get laws passed so that children, particularly in faith settings, can be better protected. So I can't think of a better reason really to come to London than that. I'm very, very happy with how everything went. It's been kind of surreal in a way. Obviously, as an activist, you want first and foremost for there to be change. You're not just doing it because you like talking about it. You want things to change for the better, and so being involved politically is kind of the pinnacle of how involved you can be as an activist in trying to make changes. So I'm thrilled to have my first taste, as it were, of political involvement, and I have to say I want more. But it's also kind of surreal because, without going into a rant or anything about my own personal political views, I felt increasingly disenfranchised from politics in the UK, particularly over the last year or 2 years. What's going on in the UK at the moment politically doesn't reflect my values and who I am as a person, and yet here I am somehow involved with an MP on an issue that I actually really, really care about. So it's this kind of strange contrast of feeling disenfranchised on one side of things, but on another side of things, feeling as though I'm being listened to and being given the opportunity to be involved in things I care passionately about. So it's kind of a lot for me to process, but I'm very, very excited. I was thrilled to be inside Parliament, and I did actually see a former leader of the Lib Dems just walked past. Just a surreal experience to be at the hub of where laws are changed in the UK, and to play my small part in, again, just trying to get laws changed so that children are better protected. But that's pretty much all I have for you, because I need to catch a flight back to Zagreb so that I can get on with all of the other stuff that I'm involved with. But thank you so much for watching this vlog. I hope you found it interesting, and as always, thank you for watching.